Hi, welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about speaker, listener technique. It's really awesome, actually. And I want you guys to think about a time where you and your significant other were having a discussion even. Like, it doesn't even have to be an argument, but discussion. And you felt like you had to just raise your voice up a notch because you felt like your partner was just not listening at all. And you felt like they were just wanting to be heard, and you just wanted to be heard, so you're both just firing back at each other, and you walk away from the conversation probably feeling worse than you did even before you started. This is actually pretty common in relationships. So today I'm going to be teaching you about the speaker-listener technique, the ins and outs of it, how to do it, how to implement it. I'll be honest though, it's super weird at first. Like, you're going to be like, that sounds like kind of robotic. I don't want to do it, but it will change your life and your marriage, so stay tuned. So just a little plug even. So this speaker-listener technique is actually taken from the book Fighting for Your Marriage by Howard J. Markman, Scott M. Stanley, and Susan L. Slumberg. And they are, I had this book actually as my textbook in my marriage class, and has excellent ideas. And so that's where I'm taking this speaker-listener technique from. Lots of therapists use it. They can tweak it. You know, I know Dr. John Gottman has his own speaker-listener technique, but that's the one I'm going to be using today. All right, first off with this, I want to go over some rules. There's rules for both you and your partner, and you will both be fulfilling the speaker role and the listener role. So first off, some of the rules for both of you is, number one, the speaker has the floor. So sometimes with some couples, you might even need to be holding an object when you have the floor, just to remind the listener that you're in charge. And you can use, what have I got here? Got a toothbrush. You can hold a toothbrush or a cup. It could be whatever you want. Even the book, they say, hold a piece of linoleum as your floor piece. The second rule is share the floor. You want this to be a conversation. The speaker doesn't just have the floor the whole time. Number three, no problem solving during this time. The speaker is just purely able to share what they're feeling. There's no solutions right now. You're just listening and trying to understand your partner as best as you can. Okay, so now we're on to the speaker. The first rule for the speaker is actually speak for yourself. Don't try and read your partner's mind. Talk about your feelings, your concerns, how you felt in this situation. Use an example, like, I was upset when you forgot our date. Not like, you forgot our date. I don't think you care about me. I don't think you love me. That's not saying, you might have the word I in there, but that doesn't count as an I statement. Like, that just made me feel sad that you forgot. I was upset that you forgot our date. Something like that. Two, don't go on and on and on. Like on Charlie Brown, she's like, wah, wah, wah. You can only listen so long. So just try and get your thoughts together and, try and be able to actually make sense of what you're feeling. That's important. Three, stop and let the listener paraphrase. This is really important. After you've said a little bit, stop and let the listener be like, hey, from what I understand, this is how you're feeling, or from what I understand, this is what's happening, or how your day's been, or whatnot. Rules for the listener. There's two rules with this one. So with, when the speaker stops and lets you paraphrase, this is your turn to talk. However, this is not your turn to share how you feel. So this is paraphrasing what you hear your partner sharing. Basically, you could be like, from what I understand, you are feeling sad because I forgot our date, or, I had something come up. And that's what you do. Second, don't rebuke, focus on what the speaker is saying. this isn't your time to just listen to fire back. This is your time to listen to understand, and try and actually put yourself in the shoes of your partner, and it will help you listen better. And pay attention to what they're saying and what they're feeling. You will have your time to talk and share how you feel. Now's the time to try and understand your partner. So that's the 2 rules for the listener. Also, this isn't technically a rule, but this is just a tip with the listener. Be sincere. Like, you married this person because you love them, and your goal is not to sit there and just, want to fire and fight with them. You want to understand them better. And so, as the listener, be sincere. Like, I understand, like, how that would make you feel. Yeah. And also, okay, so I want to give like a little bit of an example, because this is kind of a lot of information in a little video, and it takes a lot of practice. So here's an example. This is actually coming straight from the book, Fighting for Your Marriage. We have a husband and wife couple, and their name is Peter and Tessie. And they've actually been practicing this technique for a while, so you'll get to see how it does actually work out. So Peter, and he's going to be the speaker first, so this is what he's saying. I've also been pretty concerned about sending Jeremy to school, and Tessie has been concerned about that as well, and I'm not even sure if this year we should do it. And then Tessie, as the listener, is listening. She says, so you've been concerned too, and you're partly not sure if he's ready. And then Peter, as the speaker, yeah, that's it. He's acts pretty young for his age, and I'm not sure how he would do unless the situation was just right. Pause. So with that, Tessie's listen, she's saying, like, you've been concerned. Peter actually acknowledges that she listened and actually got what, he was trying to say. That's important. Tessie, she's still the listener again. She says, you're worried that he wouldn't hold well on his own with the other older kids, right? He wouldn't do well. And Peter, as the speaker, realizes that that's not exactly what he was wanting her to understand, which happens all the time. Sometimes you don't fully understand exactly what your partner is saying, so it's the speaker's job. They can clarify. And Peter says, well, partly that's it, but I'm also not sure if he's ready to be away from you that much. Honestly, part of what I'm reacting to is this transition is very hard for me when I was a kid. I had a lot of trouble in school because I was so young. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I still feel pretty anxious about it. So Peter clarified that Tessie didn't, he didn't say like, no, you didn't get it, but he just said, partly, you kind of got it a little bit. So it's not rude, he's just clarifying so they really do understand each other. Tessie, she's still the listener. She says, so you're feeling torn about him needing me a lot, but really more important, this brings up things you felt really vulnerable about as a kid, and that makes it much harder. And then Peter says, yes, that's right. How about you taking the floor? So now they're changing. So Peter is going to become the listener, and Tessie is going to become the speaker. So that's just kind of example. I'm not going to go through the rest of their discussion, but it kind of goes along like that. You start, the speaker shares how they're feeling, the listener listens to understand and repeats back what they say. It does sound a little bit robotic, but there's nothing more validating and comforting to hear back what, you're feeling from your spouse, and that they heard you. Super awesome feeling, and really helps conversations. So my hopes today are, 1, that this video made sense, and 2, because it was kind of a lot of information, but 2, that you and your partner, I have a couple suggestions. I want you guys to start practicing this technique with not heated discussions, so you can get the flow down pretty good. That helps, because then you can practice taking turns and understanding, and you can get kind of the steps of the speaker-listener technique down before you have these heated issues. So do a few practice rounds. That will help. 2, I think one thing that I really love about the speaker-listener technique is when I'm fighting with my husband or we're having a discussion, I feel like it's really awesome because I can really listen to him and try and understand him because I know that I will have my chance to share how I'm feeling too. And you can take turns switching off. One person can start before, first, and one person can, you switch off. Not one person's always the speaker first, and, whatever works in your relationship. But you both have this safety and this comfort that you will be heard, you will be understood, you'll be validated. You don't have to agree on everything, but at least they will listen to how you're feeling. Let me know if you have any questions. That kind of was a lot. I highly recommend the book, Fighting for Your Marriage. I will link it below. Super awesome. Thank you. Have a fabulous day.